My name is John Stevenson. I'm very fortunate to be able to say that I'm these days Dean of the Graduate School. I want to take a minute to recognize some of the staff from the Graduate School who are here today because they're the ones who do the real work. I just stand up and grunt and they actually make things happen. They're all over here to my left. Chisha Delamarter, everybody wave. She's our Chief Financial Officer, so she's the one who actually makes all this money we're giving away actually given away. So she's a very, very important person. Patty Cruz from our Admissions and Financial Aid Office. She's the one who organizes all the competitions, and a lot of the awards we're giving out today are competitive, and that she's done a great job this year running the competitions and also organizing this event. Thanks, Patty. Jessica is our graduate student intern this year who has made so much happen, and she is, I hate to tell you that she's a traitor. She's going off the University of Oregon in the fall, but she's been very good while she's been here. Gretchen O'Connell is the manager of our Admissions and Financial Aid Office. All of you out there who are on appointment or fellowship, or indeed all of you who are graduate students, since you got admitted, all of you have some reason to thank Gretchen. Finally, our wonderful advising staff, Jenny Borst, our senior advisor, and Carrie Simon, also a student advisor, and they're the ones who manage the torrent, the year-long torrent of paper, either in the form of actual paper or in the form of electrons, that govern every aspect of how you graduate students progress through your program. Committee approvals, dissertation approvals, the amount of work they do, the myriad tasks they undertake every day, the management that they're able to achieve. And it's just two of them. It's like, you know, some little miracle going on down there. I think actually when I turn my back, they pull like 8 other people out of the closet because the amount of work they get done is just so remarkable. So anyway, let's have a round of applause for and because she's not at the same table, I can't forget Marilyn Holmes, our communications manager, and she will be the one up here making sure that we're able to communicate everything that we've done here today. But Marilyn does the graduate student newsletter, and she's the one who gets the word out in so many different ways about the great work that's going on here, done by graduate students for the university. Thanks, Marilyn. So let's get down to the business that we came here to do. I just want to say a word about how important this day is, because I think a lot of people think about the graduate school as this sort of bureaucratic office. You know, we manage admissions, we manage graduation, we make sure the margins on your dissertation, you know, don't exceed the specified limits. And in many ways, we're a very invisible place on campus, but our real job is to help graduate students. And one of the chief functions of this ceremony is to serve as a reminder of how much we treasure our graduate students, how much we want to do for them. We don't have enough. I think all of us on this campus understand what it's like to work in a resource-constrained environment, and the graduate school is no different, but we have some precious resources, and we work very hard to allocate those resources so that they have the maximum benefit. Graduate students are an often forgotten population. We focus so much in all of higher education on the undergraduate experience, but at research universities like this one, we could not be who we are without graduate students. Graduate students contribute fundamentally to the teaching mission, they contribute fundamentally to the research mission. If we didn't have graduate students here, the teaching would go to hell and the research would disappear completely. So I just want to take a minute to say thank you. because without you, the graduate students in this room and all over campus, we could not be a great public research university, the University of Colorado Boulder, and that's what we are. We are a great public research university. And we are able to say that because we have such marvelous graduate students in every program, across all the disciplines, across campus. So, one of the ways we try to take care of you is we give you money. And we don't give you enough, but we give you as much as we can. We give you money through the departments when you come in, through university fellowships. We give you money to try to help you write those dissertations that sadly but necessarily will allow you to leave this place and get on with your lives. So we have summer dissertation fellowships and we have dissertation completion fellowships. We support research by graduate students in the form of small grants, the long-standing Bev Sears grants, but also through a new program we've developed, the Dean's Research Grant, which gives a larger sum of money to support larger, more ambitious projects. And as I said, we also take time today to recognize a few people who have done an especially outstanding job of working with graduate students. Because without mentorship, without the faculty leadership, no one could finish a graduate degree. It's not a solitary process. It's something that requires collaboration. Like everything really important in the university, and I want to emphasize this because we live in a world where there are some dangerous dreamers out there who think that we can replace a lot of what happens on campuses with technology in one form or another, but finally education is about a human connection. And really, all of you here today represent that human connection that's at the heart of what education in all its forms, graduate education very much included, is about. So, without further speechifying, I will move on to the recognitions that we've come here today. We will begin with a few endowed fellowships that we're fortunate enough to be able to administer in the graduate school. These were endowed by very generous donors who had the desire to set money aside to help graduate students in specific fields of endeavor. And what I'd like is for the recipients, if you're here, to just stand where you are so we can give you a round of applause and recognize you. The Cheryl R. Young Memorial Scholarship goes to Jennifer Little from Chemistry and Biochemistry. This next one is a name some of you will remember, Carol Lynch, one of my very distinguished predecessors, has been in the graduate school here for many years. Carol has endowed a fellowship, and this year it goes to Abigail Koss, also from Chemistry and Biochemistry. Is Abigail here? That's good. And every few years, the CU Retired Faculty Association gives us money for a graduate fellowship, for a graduate student, research award, and it's named after a longtime faculty member here, Carl Kisslinger. Again, I think probably a lot of you remember him. And that goes to Daniel McDonald in computer science. Daniel, are you here? What I'd like to do with the dissertation completion fellowships, and this is, I should say, a very competitive award. This is a grant that allows a student to basically step away from teaching or being an RA and actually focus on finishing the dissertation, which, as I say, is really what you came here to do. And we have many, I'm sorry to say, many more applications than we have fellowships to give. So the people who have won these awards have really emerged from a very stiff competition. What I'd like to do is just read the names, and if you're here, please stand, and then at the end we'll give you a collective round of applause. Masood Arshadi from Civil, Environmental, and Architectural Engineering. Maura Chun from History. Jamie Ford from Anthropology. because they're all off writing their dissertation. Edward Kozak from economics. Cameron Mathesy from geography. Daniel Preston from ecological and evolutionary biology. Greg Salveson from astrophysical and planetary sciences. Richard Sandoval, linguistics. Lindsay Scott, geography.
Oh, God.
Ashwini Vaida, linguistics. And Daniel Verrill from history. The next list is very long, and I'm not going to read all of these names. These are summer fellowships. I think all of you in this room, since I think everybody pretty much in here either is a graduate student or was once a graduate student and is now a faculty member, knows how difficult it can be to get through the summers. Often your support is not there. Summer can be a time that you still have to pay the rent, you still have to eat, but your sources of income aren't there. And often graduate students will take some other off-campus employment and then not be able to use those precious summer months to do their own work, to move ahead on their dissertation. And so for a few years now, we've been giving these summer fellowships that are a grant that we hope is sufficient to support a graduate student through the summer so that they can focus on their own work. It's been a very well-received program. We get lots and lots of applications, and you can see the names here and the many different disciplines that are represented. So let's give those folks a round of applause. We now move to a part of the program where you don't have to hear me talk all the time. We're going to recognize the Outstanding Graduate Student Mentor Faculty Award winners right now. And I just want to say a word about this year's competition because it was very unusual. We always get a number of nominations for this award, and the nominations tend to fall into two different categories. We get nominees who are just really outstanding at working individually with graduate students in their labs or in non-science disciplines on research projects in the classroom, mentoring as it was meant to be. And we get another kind of nominee every year, and these are people who have done outstanding work in what is often a thankless and overlooked job, which is to say being director of graduate studies or associate chair for graduate studies. And these are positions that are on this campus very poorly compensated. You don't get much extra money for doing that. There's huge responsibility, often with very little staff assistance, though we do have wonderful graduate program assistants on campus. They have to run admissions, they have to oversee student progress through the program. It's a huge job, but some people really do outstanding work in that job. And what we got this year, we had a number of nominations, and we had both of those classes well represented. There were people who were just truly world-class mentors in working with individual graduate students. And then we had graduate directors who had, for years, done transformative work in their programs. And as a result, had helped individuals. We're doing great mentorship work, but we're also transforming entire programs, bringing them forward, poising them for future progress. So we went around and around and around about how we normally give one or two of these, and it was like, we got it down to 4, and it was like, how are we going to choose? Finally, we just said, they're all great. Those of us on the committee have been looking at these nominations for years, and there are 5-year periods in which we didn't get any nomination as good as these 4 that we got this year. And so we said, why be stingy? Why not recognize true excellence when you see it. And so I'm very, very pleased to be able to recognize these 4 outstanding faculty. I'm going to ask them to come forward. There is a monetary award that goes with this. You'll be happy to learn. I don't have the checks with me. I do have a very nice little piece of paper there. And I'm going to call the winners up so that I can shake their hand and give them their certificate. And I'm going to put them on the spot and ask them to just say a few words about their work with graduate students over the years. So, the first winner from the Integrated Physiology Department, Roger Crane.
I'll be very specific about a few words, although I have a little trepidation given English scholars.
I'm going to be watching your grammar.
All right. So we're trained as, in my area, trained as a scientist, but never trained in anything to do with management or supervision or really mentoring. So when I became an assistant professor, I got a book out of the library. I like to follow college basketball. Got a book out of the library by a coach named Dean Smith. And some of you may still remember, Dean Smith was Michael Jordan's college coach, and hopefully most of you know who Michael Jordan is. He was a very good basketball player. Some say the best basketball player ever. And I realized that this was good information, because what we get are Michael Jordans, who we then have to coach and advise. And Dean Smith had a few words that I've used and tried to remember and pass on, because one of our jobs as mentors is to teach our graduate students how to mentor in the future. So just a few words. Dean Smith said the key, when you have people like Michael Jordan, is to praise what you want more of. And I know that ends in a preposition, but it's... and if you don't remember anything else, that is a good way to mentor. These people, the students we get, don't need to be yelled at very much. But a little bit of praise goes a long way. Thanks.
Let me just say that I was present in an arena a number of times and watched Dean Smith coach from relatively short distance. The only thing he did was he yelled at the refs. In a way. I'm sitting there thinking, well, for graduate education, I guess I'm the ref. Please don't. Next, I'd like to recognize someone who does not have the title of graduate director. He has the more exalted title of associate dean, because he is in charge of all the graduate programs in the College of Music. And he stepped into this job some years ago and has filled it superlatively. Steve Rhodes.
No, I'm really nervous. I'm not nearly so eloquent as John Stevenson, so I'll try to say what I think might be most important. I'm glad that John started by recognizing the amazing staff in the graduate school. Ginny Bors could probably have a reality show with all of the crazy phone calls she gets from me, and you decide if it's a real question or just a joke. She assures me regularly that my questions are not always unprecedented, which is hard to believe. But one other really important person in my work in the graduate office in the College of Music, we have approximately 250 students, and there is no way I could do that job as enjoyably, as relatively stress-free as it is without Joyce Cheney, who is busily running that office this afternoon. She is our graduate program assistant, and I've been in the College of Music for quite a long time, and no one is even close to Joyce in the level of skill, attention to detail, and just complete professionalism. So I hope some of you will get to meet her at some point. Another person I'd like to thank is the longtime friend and colleague who nominated me for this award, Alyssa Gorolnik. She could win this award every year as far as the faculty in the College of Music is concerned. I've learned a huge amount from her about how to work with students and how to do your job with peerless commitment. And I can't tell you how much that has meant to me, Alyssa. The other gift she gave me this year as I'm preparing to go on sabbatical after several years doing administrative work is a notebook with the letters that former students wrote as part of this nomination. And I'm going to keep that forever because many of you students may not realize it, but we hope to change your lives, but I can assure you, you changed ours in ways you couldn't possibly know and that I didn't anticipate when I started in this profession. And that is a gift that is beyond words to say thank you for. I'd also like to thank my wife, Peggy, who regularly talks me down off the ledge, because the job's not always stress-free, no matter how great the people are you work with. But I've learned a huge amount from watching her as an administrator. She's done administration for many more years than I have, and has a lot more wisdom about it. So thank you for everything I've learned from you. The one last story I want to tell you, just to give you a sense of why I'm so proud to receive this award and to be in a room full of remarkable graduate students and colleagues. Just one story among many from our graduate student population. I learned earlier this year that we have had a series of graduate students working in Afghanistan. Two of them recently went there for a 2 or 3 week residency where they worked with young people in Kabul, Afghanistan. I can't imagine a more frightening sort of adventure to go on. And I think about that every time I see the signs about being bolder. I couldn't imagine being bolder than these people. And they came back telling stories about young children in this amazingly frightening place to live who went to a music institute in the center of Kabul and got something from our students that they couldn't find anywhere else. Some of them had to actually keep that secret from their families who would have been worried about their safety and the kind of impact that these students have at the beginning of their careers. I just look at them and imagine what might come next. And I've seen what comes next from numerous of my own students, and it's something that, as I said earlier, I can't really feel grateful enough for. So I didn't intend to talk that long. Thanks, this means a lot to me.
It's interesting when someone comes up to an acceptance and what they are full of is gratitude for other people. I think that says a lot about how we work here. We all need each other to succeed. I want to now recognize Martha Palmer from the Department of Linguistics and Computer Science and the Institute for Cognitive Science. And Martha, please come forward.
So working with graduate students is by far my favorite part of this job. That's why I'm here at a university. And they keep you honest. They are constantly bringing fresh perspectives and new ideas. We could not move forward in research without their courage and their imagination and their intelligence. And there's nothing more thrilling than when that student who her first year was so shy and quiet and sat in a classroom and never said a word, and now here she is maybe 4 or 5 years later, and we have some famous visiting professors from Stanford giving a course, and she's the student in the class asking the most challenging questions and really, keeping them on their toes and making them think about what they're saying. And it's constantly rewarding. So I say that it's not hard to be a good advisor when you've got really great students, and the students here are all really great.
I would dispute one thing Martha said. I think it is hard to be a great advisor, even with very good students. And I think we should never forget what I think all of our winners have been saying, that this is incredibly important work, but it's damn hard to do well. And they've all figured out how to do it and are doing it every day. As is our fourth winner, who could not be with us today, my colleague from English, Paul Youngquist, who has done transformative work there, forming the graduate program and also worked with a great many students. So let's just give Paul a round of applause. And then we get to some real fun because we get to hear from some actual graduate students. One of our most important awards are the awards we give for teaching excellence by GPTI. GPTI, for those who don't know, on this, we live, of course, in higher education in a universe of acronyms, and we often even forget what the acronyms stand for. We know sort of what they mean, but it's like, so what are the words behind there? So GPTI means Graduate Part-Time Instructor, and these are our most senior graduate student teachers on campus. They are in a pay grade higher than TA. I wish I could say much higher. I think when you're a graduate student, every dollar counts. And so these are our most senior, our most experienced graduate student teachers. These are graduate students who teach their own classes. They are not assisting another professor. They are the instructors of record. And I think we should never forget how fundamental the excellent teachers we have among our graduate students are to the teaching mission of this university. Again, they are contributing every day to the excellence that we have here. So it gives me great pleasure to be able to recognize these students. I will again ask them to say a few words about themselves in the classroom. And I believe if we can trust the RSVPs, we have quite a few of these winners with us today. We're very fortunate because this is my favorite part of the program, to listen to the graduate students talk about what they're doing. Our first winner is Christopher Sear.
So, teaching is one of my favorite parts of grad school, and it's a responsibility I take seriously, but this time of year I think is one of my favorite times to be a teacher. First of all, because it means I won't have to grade another paper until the fall, but I think more importantly, it's when you bump into your former students on campus who are getting ready to graduate, and they come up to you and talk to you about what they're going to be doing after college, and some of the students I've talked to are doing some really cool stuff. I mean, just this year I'm thinking have one who's going to be going to work for the European Union. I have another who got accepted into a top 10 PhD program. And just to know that, not just me, but that everyone in here played some sort of a small role in getting these students to a place where they can fulfill their dreams, I think is one of the most rewarding parts of the job, and it's one of my favorite parts of grad school.
I forgot to say that Christopher is from political science, so all of those interesting students are political science students. Our next winner is Mark Pleiss. Mark is from the Spanish department.
I want to thank Ann Becker, first of all, who's been a mentor for me since I started here and has seen me grow since my first semester. One of the great things I think that I enjoy most about teaching Spanish at a place like CU is that first day when you walk in the classroom and you have 18 to 20-year-olds who want nothing else than to start communicating with one another, and then we take away their instrument for doing so and give them something that's different and uncomfortable and requires a lot of work in order to use effectively. That's one of my favorite parts, is slowly teaching them how to communicate in a way that is possibly unnatural to them at first, and then slowly watching them grow. I love bumping into a Spanish student 2 years later to tell me they're a major and see how much they've learned since the last time that I taught them. And I also really like to push all of the other disciplines that they learn in a foreign language classroom, showing up to class 5 days a week, doing homework 5 days a week, learning to speak publicly in a way that is completely uncomfortable to them, and really getting the tough skin that they're going to need in the future for work environment, whether they're speaking Spanish or not. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Mark. Next, Johannes Kareth from the Political Science Department.
Thank you. I've had a really great time teaching here at CU, and that is mostly because of the great students that we have. In my classroom, I try to treat my students as equal. I try to integrate them into research, have them write a blog publicly, and I've had really a great time doing this because we have such good students. I actually transferred here from another university, so that's saying that really means something to me, that the students are good here. And so thank you so much for this award. And I can also say this award, or awards like this, are very useful for us graduate students on the job markets and other occasions. So thank you for that. And thank you all at the Graduate School for all the great work that you do for us and for all the help that you do. Thank you.
Jessica Appleby from French and Italian.
I'd first like to just thank the Graduate School and the Awards Committee for this opportunity and giving this type of occasion for us to really push ourselves to improve sort of the art that we're all just starting to learn right now. I'd also like to thank the French department, especially my two coordinators, Carmen and Jane, who are here today, for their constant support. I'm grateful to work at a university where we're given as graduate students so many opportunities to learn and to improve our teaching skills. As the last one said, just to go in the job market as well. To me, I've taught at two other universities, and nothing is like it is teaching here. The support that we get and the respect from the faculty and the interactions that we have with our students who are just engaging, and we can learn so much from them as they're learning from us, and that's what makes this a real pleasure for me. So, thank you.
Rachel Oliver from Theater and Dance.
Will not be coming.
Will not be coming. Great job. Becky Leonardi from the School of Education.
I want to say thank you to the Graduate School too, and to my advisor back there who has been amazing. I didn't bring my lesson plan, so I'm a little nervous. But, so I guess teaching has been probably the most enjoyable experience, besides writing a dissertation, which was a trip. The class that I teach is sort of an interesting class for students at CU because we focus on a lot of issues of equity and privilege, and it's a lot of waking them up to injustice and inequity that they didn't know much about before they got here. And so I think one thing that has helped me be a little bit successful in that predicament is that I really try to understand my students' hearts. I try to build relationships with them, and I try to be patient for their life experiences and what they come with. And yeah, the relationships that I have with my students are, that's what I'll take with me, and a degree, but thank you so much.
Stephen Dubin from Linguistics.
So this award award should really go to my wife, who deals with me staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning, stressing out over the next day's PowerPoint and whether or not the animation is exactly right, whether or not they're going to understand exactly what I mean. So thank you very much for that, Suzanne. Also, we've been saying it, we've been hearing it a lot tonight, but the students here at CU, really, in my experience and why I love teaching so much, is the students are just absolutely incredible. 2 years ago, I became a dad, which was the greatest experience imaginable, and I was simultaneously teaching a class Perspectives on Language, and all of a sudden, I was seeing in my students, I was seeing my daughter, and I was asking myself, so what do I want my daughter to get passionate about? What would I want her to learn? So I really try to infuse that and interact with my students the way that I would want a teacher to interact with my daughter. And that's really what drives me and what inspires me and what brings me back. And so thank you for this award. Thank you to the Linguistics Department for all your support. And thank you, everyone.
Mitch Pinsler from Classics.
Are we all just leaving these up here? Or these haven't been handed out. I would first like to thank the powers that be in the graduate school. I've started referring to them that way fairly recently. I would really like to thank all my excellent instructors I've had over my, 10 years now of higher education. They've done an excellent job modeling what being a good teacher means to me. I've always felt, in my 10 years of higher education, that my discipline, that of classics, is really uniquely suited to provide students not only with skills that they'll need later on in whatever their chosen career might be, but also to help them enjoy life more, life in general, in all its aspects. Movies, other languages, books they read, fiction, anything. That's what I try and instill in my students. So, thank you.
Brian Jenkins from Philosophy.
Wow, so this is really a tremendous honor, and I owe it all to the mentors that I've had in the philosophy department. Some of the faculty that we have, like Claudia Mills and Wes Morrison, who are both retiring this year. I hope that by the time I retire, I'm half the teacher that they are. My favorite philosopher, Marcus Aurelius, said that people come into the world for the sake of one another, therefore either teach them or bear with them. And as a GPTI, I've had plenty of opportunities to do both. Teach them, obviously, and also plenty of opportunities to practice my patience. But in all seriousness, the students here are really incredible. I had some excellent teachers and mentors when I was an undergraduate. I was the kind of stereotypical student in the philosophy class who had his mind blown on a daily basis. I try to pay that forward, and there's nothing more rewarding than seeing the kind of spark of inquiry or the aha moment where a student considers a question like, how should I spend my life, or what things are ultimately valuable or desirable, or what do I owe other people? Questions like that, questions in ethics, the ones that I study. I can hardly imagine a more rewarding profession than teaching that has the really profound opportunities to shape the lives of young people and to get paid to think about the things that I love and to form those bonds with students that I hope last a lifetime. So again, thank you very much, appreciate it.
Judith Strather from English.
Thank you very much for this award. I'd like to thank the Graduate School as well as the English Department for the nomination. What I love best about teaching in the English Department is getting students to talk. And once you get them going, they want to keep talking. But it's it's the opportunity to get them to read something they haven't read before and talk about it and maybe take something away from that. I do think that one of the most rewarding aspects of this job is being able to learn from them as much as we hope to teach them. So thank you very much for the support.
Two more. Nathan Stith from Theater and Dance.
So, before I came to CU, I spent 15 years in New York City working as a professional actor. Broadway national tours, appeared on the Metropolitan Opera with Placido Domingo. You can imagine standing in front of 2,000 people getting a standing ovation is a pretty exciting, fulfilling thing. I took a huge leap of faith to leave the professional acting world and come to CU to teach. And what I found over these past 5 years is that nothing is more fulfilling or gratifying than sharing my passions with my students, opening their minds and letting them understand the world of art, the theater that I am so passionate about. And so I thank you for this award.
And Zachary Ward from Economics.
So I teach a class I teach like the intro class to econ where you have 200 students trying to learn what economics is all about. And that can be pretty difficult because econ is not a fun subject. So you need to somehow, like, you try to figure out the incentives for people. You can try to figure, like, okay, you need your grade to be good, so you try to give them incentives to do well in the class through grades, but you need some type of intrinsic motivation. So that's kind of what my teaching philosophies around. Try to figure out how to like intrinsically motivate people, how to get people interested in the subject in the first place. And when you have a class of 200 people, basically the way I do that is through weird examples. So like I talk about what is the effect of legalizing marijuana on the economy? What is the effect if like a flood hits Boulder on the economy? So if you make something a little bit more relevant to students, then they generally like really like that. And the other thing that I do is just show a lot of YouTube clips. So those who want to win this award next year, just show like 5 YouTube clips in class. But yeah, so just somehow getting them more interested in the subject than the students will really love. So yeah, thank you.
As I say, that's always my favorite part of this program because it's a chance for you to see graduate students not exactly at work, but talking about the work they do, that they love, that they excel at, and that, as I say, is so important for all of us. Let's have a collective round of applause. We'll move through the remainder of the program fairly quickly. I want to highlight a couple of things. The next category, the Dean's Student Research Grant, as I said earlier, is a new program we've developed in the last couple of years. We had, and we'll recognize them in a second, for many years, the Bev Sears Student Research Grant Awards. Those are named after Bev Sears, longtime staff member in the graduate school and a wonderful benefactor to graduate students on this campus. But those awards are capped at a fairly low level, about $1,000. There are a few that carry a little more than that. But often graduate students, I was discovering, had projects that really weren't going to be fully supported or even nearly adequately supported by those grants. And so I tried to create something that would help students with bigger projects, more, well, let's face it, more expensive projects. And the first year we did it, last year, I put out a call for proposals. I was hoping to give out 5 awards, and we had almost 120 applications. And so I knew that there was a need out there. And those of you who attended the ceremony last year, this ceremony, heard them talk about their work, and we had exceptional people. And so we did it again this year. And I'm not going to ask these winners this year to speak because we had a separate occasion last fall where they got to talk about their work. It was a wonderful, wonderful occasion, and we will do something like that again next fall. So stay tuned. But I do want to recognize both our winners and our finalists, because we were able to give some support to the finalists as well as fully funding the grant winners. All 15 of these were exceptional projects. It was very, very hard to make these decisions about our winners. So first, let me just call the names of our finalists and ask them to stand. Daniel Du Bois from history, Melissa Foster from geology, Ari Gagne from music, Patrick Barber from chemistry and biochemistry, Tracy Beckelman from anthropology, Anthony Harness from astrophysical and planetary sciences, Kristen Lasser from education, William Limpert from anthropology, William Chase Peeler from music, and Ted Rogers from history. We have a few of you here. Let's And then I'd like to recognize the winners. If you could also stand as I call your name. Chelsea Cook from EEB. Joanna Hubbard, also from EEB. Barbara Grossman-Thompson from sociology. Andrew McHill from integrative physiology. And Benjamin Montoya from history. Congratulations. I also want to recognize Joey Hubbard. She's stepping down as president of the United Government of Graduate Students right now. She's done an exceptional job of leading our graduate student governmental organization, and she's been a great friend to graduate students, as has Ugg. So thank you, Joey. Let's get started. We have some named Bev Sears grants. These do carry a little bit larger award, and these are funded by very generous donors who understand the importance of supporting graduate student research. I would like these students to stand as I call their name to be recognized. The Cynthia Schultz Award goes to Jamie Ford from anthropology. The Bev Sears in honor of Professor Jack Cousins goes to Rebecca Kennedy from history. The Ernest Bigelow Award goes to Alexander Corey from English. The Friends of the Graduate School Award goes to Nathan Kleist from EEB. The Hope Schultz Yosa Award goes to Alan Zaracata from political science. The Jenny K. Collins Award goes to Taylor McIntosh from film studies. The Ray Hauser Award goes to Erin Malone from geography. The Paula Moore Award goes to Amanda Hunt from EEB. And the Verona Walker Award goes to Todd France from architectural engineering. Let's give them a round. And we also have listed here all the other winners of the Bev Sears Awards. And again, it's too many names to read out, but if we could give them a collective round of applause. Last word here, and then I'll let you go back to conversation, and you can fall on the last few chocolate-covered strawberries. I want to emphasize the range of disciplines that we've heard from today, and whose graduate students we have applauded. We are, as I said earlier, a comprehensive university. We do everything here. We're not a technical college. We're not just a school of the arts. We're not just a school of physical sciences. We do it all. And we have excellent graduate students in every program on this campus. And I think the awards we've given out today, the recognitions that we've offered, I think represent the range of talent we have among the graduate students on campus. There are terrific people everywhere you look. And if you look simply around this room, you will see terrific people. You will see people who will really be the intellectual leaders of tomorrow. And I think we would all agree that we really desperately need great intellectual leaders tomorrow. And we're lucky to have them in our midst. Thanks so much for coming out. Good luck finishing up this academic year. Congratulations to those who are graduating, for those who aren't quite there yet. See you back here in the fall. Thank you.